Hello everyone. I'm Fanil. I'm back again. So I hope you enjoyed the previous mini event we just had, and I hope you are done with your lunch and get ready for the next session which we are going to have on Flutter. Moving on to, I would like to introduce Ayush Bherwani, who is a Flutter developer who had done amazing contributions to Flutter repository. Who is a GSOC, who was a GSOC student, and Ayush will today help you with getting started with Flutter and solve of any of your doubts which you have as a Flutter. If you want to be a Flutter developer, what what things you need to get started. Ayush will help you in solving that issues. And yep, hello Ayush, welcome to Hacktoberfest Mozen Movies event. I so yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me here. It's really an honor to interact with the students and help them out in contributing to Flutter. So yeah, thank you so much for
Yes,
having me here. It's looking forward
yes,
to it.
yes, Ayush. So Ayush, you will be sharing your screen, right?
Yeah, sure. One second.
Yeah.
Is it visible?
Uh, Hold up. Yes, it is. So yeah,
Awesome.
all the best. All the best, Ayush.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hey everyone, my name is Ayush Bherwani and I am a software developer engineer at Frontier. I am a 2020 graduate and I'm also organizer of Flutter Vadodara. So basically, I work on things. I work on the mobile development and Solidity for smart contracts. So if you are new to Android development, Flutter development, or Firebase technologies, and if you want some help, you can definitely reach out to me. I will try my best to help you out. So basically, the first thing that comes to our mind is what is open source, right? We are here today for the open source contributions and how you can contribute to open source projects, right? So what do you really mean by open source? So basically, I remember when I was in the seventh standard, I came across the Linux operating system, right? And my teacher told me that Linux is an open source operating system, and he told me that Linux is open source and open source means free software, but it is partially correct. Not every open software are free. There are some licenses that you need to take care of, and even every free software is not an open source. So what do you really mean by open source? So there are many definitions of open source. The basic one is that you can any software that is available on open as an open source project, you can copy the code, you can alter the code, even you can sell it if the license allows you to do so. But for me, there is another definition of open source, which is open source is a community where you can come together with different people, try to make a good software, try to help the community by solving the issues, by creating new issues, by adding some new features to a software, and that's how a community grows in the open source, right? So for me, open source is not just about the software, but it is also about the community where you can grow together and help other people too by solving issues in the open source projects. So I like to listen podcasts, and in one of the podcasts I heard this: fostering the community is more difficult than managing the code, and this is so true in open source because I remember when I was in the second year, I started using Stack Overflow, and when I asked my first question of the Stack Overflow, I got two downvotes, and I got so demotivated that I didn't even use Stack Overflow for next 1 year to ask questions. So that Stack Overflow can sometimes be toxic community too, and we have all come across this kind of stuff, right? So what do I mean by fostering community is more difficult? That is like whenever you contribute to an open source project, even if you do mistakes, people and the maintenance of the projects don't the maintenance of the projects don't come and target you like you should not do this, you should not try to contribute if you don't know how to contribute. They will be always there to help you out how to understand the project. They will not shout on you like, hey, you should have checked the issue first, and then you should have opened the issue. They will be very polite to you, and they will say thank you for your contributions, but this is already a duplicate issue, so we'll be closing that. So that's why I like the open source community, and that's what I mean by fostering the community is more difficult than managing the code. So So this will be my scenario if open source does not exist in the real world. If you take a look around yourself, we all are developers and we all are surrounded by the open source projects. Even if you're a web developer, you use React Native, you use React Native, you use React, then you use Vue, which are all open source projects. Even if you use Flutter for mobile development, so these are all open source projects which always help developers to build some good software and deliver it to their customers. So yeah, open source is really important. So it's our duty also to help active. We care about open source contribution, right? As I said, we should always help open source projects by submitting the issues, by solving their issues, by submitting some pull requests for the features. But why should you care about the open source contribution? Right now in HactoFX you get a free t-shirt, but what about other months, right? What are the other months? What are the benefits that you get from the open source contribution? So there are few benefits that I got from open source contribution which I'll be sharing.
Ayush, Ayush, you there?
You
Hold up,
get
Ayush.
mentoring from the
I guess your internet
okay.
is lagging.
Oh yeah, sorry for that.
It's okay,
Am
it's
I
okay.
able to connect properly now?
Yes, it is clear now. Move on.
Okay. So you will get mentoring from the best folks in the open source world. What I mean by that is whenever you contribute to an open source, you submit a pull request, right? When you are submitting a pull request, you get reviews which will help you to understand how the open source project works. You will learn the best practices from the best developers in the world. Like if you're looking forward to contribute to Flutter, you will be getting reviewed by the people who are working in Google, and you will learn from them whenever they give you a review, because we are not an expert in any field by default, right? And we always learn by taking the baby steps or by getting the reviews. So those things will help you, and it will be really good in terms of mentoring when you submit a pull request to any open source project. So this is an this is an example, a screenshot from my contribution which I gave, and this was a review which I got for writing a test case. Now, if you look at the review, it is really a good review for me because this helped me to learn how to write the better test case in Flutter. So in that way, you can also contribute, and you will get some reviews which will always help you to be a better developer. Then second thing that you will get is you will always learn something new. Every time you submit a pull request, you will learn something new. Just take an example. In the last screenshot, I showed how I got a reviewed and how I learned to write better test cases. So it is not just you need to submit some pull request which has code changes to learn something new. Even if you're making a documentation changes, then also you are learning something new. Why I will say you why you will learn something new when you are documenting something. You cannot document any code even if you don't know how it is working, right? I mean, if you want to document some feature, you must know how it is working. So that's how you will learn how the feature is working internally, and then you will be able to write a good documentation about it. So even if you're doing a documentation change, you will learn something new. And even if you're doing documentation changes, you will be having a good.
So sorry, guys. It's because of internet issues. I hope that I should be back soon. Yeah, he is back. Hi, Ayush. Ayush, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Continue.
Okay. So Even if even if you're doing documentation changes, you will learn something new. You will also get an idea of how the technical writing is done in the open source world. It also gives you motivation. Every time a PR gets merged, it will motivate you to do something more, right? It feels good when your PR get merged, right? And what I mean by what goes around comes around is uh, open source projects are used by millions of people around the world. Take an example of Flutter, React Native, React.js, Vue.js. These kind of projects are used by millions of people around the world. And even if you're making a small feature change, that feature will be used by thousand people around the world for developing their projects. So that itself gives you motivation to do something more in the open source world, right? But we always think I can't contribute to open source. This is the general scenario that we come across as a student life, that I can't. Open source contribution is not for me. Like when I started contributing to open source, I also felt that open source contribution is not for me. Why? We These are the general thoughts that we come across every time. Like if you want to contribute to open source, you will think about I'm not capable enough, right? I should know this thing to send a PR. Other people are smarter than me. I can't ask help from the maintenance because I will look dumb. This is a general scenario. What if I will do wrong? And my most favorite is the time traveling. You will do time traveling like what if I submit a PR and it gets closed? What if I submit a PR and it is not proper? What will maintenance will think about me and all this kind of stuff. So if you're having this kind of thought without before converting to open source, then you might have an imposter syndrome. Now it's nothing like bad to have an imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome usually occurs when you're trying to get out of your comfort zone. So it's a good thing because you are taking a baby step to get out of your comfort zone and you have imposter syndrome. You don't have to fight the imposter syndrome. You just need to take baby steps to overcome it. And yeah, it's okay to have imposter syndrome. I too have it. Even if I've contributed to Flutter a lot of times, I still have an imposter syndrome because every time I make a new contribution or go through a new code base, I will have an imposter syndrome because that is normal scenario for any human out there. So whenever we talk about open source contributions, we hear a lot of myths around it, right? So let's try to bust some myths. The first one, the most common one, is the open source contribution is really hard. Now, if you ask any open source contributor, few of the contributors say, "No, open source contribution is really hard. You cannot do it because you don't know this thing." That is really wrong. Open source contribution is not that hard. Even if you are making small code changes, you are an open source contribution. You are you are an open source contributor. Even if you're making a you are if you're also raising an issue, you are an open source contributor. Is creating an issue is that hard? I don't think so. Creating an issue is that hard or finding any bug. So yeah, open source contribution is not that hard. So don't feel like that. And people always say that only good developers can contribute to open source. Now I don't call myself a good developer, and there's nothing as a term called as good developer. There are developers with some experience, and it's normal that we won't have that much of experience like the people with 10-year experience will have. We will need to learn every time, and that's okay. So don't feel like only good developers can contribute. Anyone can contribute. Even if you have some great technical skill, or even if you have good writing skill, you can contribute to open source by creating a documentation pull request. The third myth is that documentation issues are not open source contribution. Just take a scenario, you have created a wonderful software, like a wonderful SDK that can be used by millions of people around the world. But what if you don't have a good documentation for that software? How to use it and how to use it in your project? Everyone will not use the software because they will need to have to check source code again and again to understand what the software is doing if you don't have a good documentation. So that's why documentation is really important, and that's what I love about Flutter. And also, issues are also important part of Focus's contribution because the team will not know what are the bugs in the framework, what are the feature requests in the framework. So it's really important for us to create the new issues to help the team figure out what are the bugs and what are the feature requests, so they can work on it and deliver a better software to other people. So how can you contribute to Flutter? Today we are here to how you can contribute to Flutter. Right? Everyone wants to contribute to Flutter if you're joining the session, right? So The first thing is you select a repository from Flutter organization. There are a lot of there are 33, or I remember, as far as I remember, there are 33 or more than 33 repositories in the Flutter organization. You can select any one of the repository from the organization. Then you can find the issues labeled as easy fix, good first contribution, entertaining new contributor project, documentation, API docs, or take any issues you are comfortable with. Once you have selected an issue that you want to really work on or you are comfortable with, if you still don't know how to solve that issue, you can talk to maintainers by tagging them and asking that I want to solve this issue. And it's really good if you're asking the maintainers how to solve this issue. Just don't be shy and feel like maintainers will think I'm a dumb, how can I contribute, and such kind of things. For example, if when I started contributing Flutter, I also didn't know how to write better test cases. So I just asked the maintainer, how can I write a test case to check whether the assertions are made correct or not. And the maintainer was really good and he helped me a lot. If you see the last sentence over here, it also says that let me know if those ideas does not work. We can continue brainstorming ways to move forward. So that's how helpful maintainers are in the Flutter project, and they will always help you to solve the bugs. The first step is fork the repo and clone it, because yeah, you don't have permission to commit or create a pull request on the Flutter project itself or any open source project. Create a new branch, do the changes, and create a PR. The last step is wait for reviews and work on it. Usually, whenever you contribute to big open source projects, it usually takes a lot of time for reviews to come, and you your pull request won't get merged directly without any code changes. We are all new to open source projects, and we will need to understand how the ecosystem or how the Flutter project ecosystem is working, how they manage the code, what are the code styles. So you need to work on it, and you will learn gradually whenever you will get the reviews. So yeah, it's time for tips. The first tip I would like to give is don't send a PR without creating issues. This is, I would just like to take an example. In Hacktoberfest, we know a lot of Indians created a lot of invalid PRs by saying amazing project, by creating a pull request which says amazing project in the README. This could have been easily avoided if they have created an issue and talked with maintenance whether they really need it or not. And that's the first step that you should do always, without that you should not submit a PR without creating an issue, because we don't know whether the maintainers really need that change or not. For example, I would like to say I did the same thing. I submitted a pull request without creating an issue, and then I came across that the maintenance does not need it, and after all I had to close that issue, and I had to close that PR. So this situation would have been easily avoided if I would have created an issue, talked to the maintainers, and done some research over it. Read the contributing guide or ask for the TLDR from someone who has already contributed. If I would have I would have read the contributing guide, I would have known that I should be on the stable branch and not on the dev branch. If you can see over here, I said actually I was on the dev channel. It was working properly in the stable channel. Closing this for now. If I would have read the contributing guide, I should have known that I should be in the stable channel and not on the dev channel. And this situation could have been easily avoided. Simil, uh, Similarly, if you are contributing to Flutter, please don't use Dart.fmt, which is the formatter used for the Dart in the Flutter repo. Flutter repository does not use Dart.fmt, and please don't use it, because I did the same. And what was the result is that I ended up with millions of additions and deletions, which was not intended. But yeah, I ran the .fmt in the Flutter repository, and I ended up with so many changes. So I had to revert those changes. So yeah, if I would have read the contributing guide, I would have known that I should not use the .fmt in the project. So please read the contributing guide. That is the first and most important step that you should do. Tips for PR. One PR for one issue. No matter how the PR, how much the small the issue is. Even if you're changing a one line in the documentation, please don't try to include two or three issues in the same PR if they're not related. If they're related, you can surely do those things. But if they're not related, please don't do that. be open to changes and healthy conversations. Uh, be whenever you submit first your first pull request on any project, you will not know what are the standard of code they follow. So usually you will get a lot of changes by the maintainers of the PR, and you should be open to changes and healthy conversations. Don't feel bad if they say your solution is not good, because that's how we learn. If our solution is not good, it is an opportunity for us to learn how to write a better code. And also, don't get demotivated if your PR gets closed, because a lot of time my PR has also got closed because of some reasons. So please get demotivated if your PR gets closed. It's fairly okay, and even if your PR gets closed, you will learn something new every time. So yeah, if you have any questions before moving forward, you can definitely shoot it, because after this we'll try to solve an issue in the Flutter itself, so you can get a better idea how you can solve an issue in Flutter. Do you have any questions? You can write in the comment. Then we will try to solve an issue in the Flutter.
Yes, people, if you do have any questions, do write in the comments section. Ayush is here to solve that. Ayush, I think there's no comment until now. You can continue with your presentations and with the Flutter thing.
Okay, sure. So now we will try to fix an issue in easy fix an issue in the Flutter project. Let's try to do it. I'm doing it for the first time on the live session, and I hope it will go well. So as I said before, if you want to contribute to Flutter, there are a lot of repositories that are available. If you can see over here, there is Flutter repository, there is samples repository, plugins repository. So you can choose anyone that you would like to contribute. Today we will see how to contribute in the Flutter SDK repository. So if you have selected the repository, just go into it. Try to read contributing MD first, because that is the most important part. If you can see over here, you can check this out, how to contribute to Flutter. There are a lot of steps here are given, which you should definitely read. The most important thing that you should know is to read how to where was that? Okay, the tree hygiene part. This is really important for you to understand how to send a PR. Here everything is given, how you can, what are the code styles that are followed. If you can see over here, there is written style guide for Flutter repository. So you can check this, how you can write the code in the Flutter repository, which will really help you to understand. If you don't want to read such long paragraph, you can simply ask anyone who has already contributed, because they can really give a short summary for you. So the second step is go to the issues and try to find a label with EasyFix issue. So if you select the EasyFix issue, there are currently 150 issues that are open right now, which are labeled as EasyFix. So there is a lot of issues that you can solve. So I know one issue that is we can try to solve, which is merge semantics. Mhm. Is that already solved? Okay. So here is an issue which is labeled as EasyFix docs examples documentation. And here it says you should to provide a code sample for merge semantics. What I mean by code sample in Flutter repository is by this. If you go into the documentation of Flutter, you will find such beautiful samples everywhere. If you can see over here, which says how to use the row widget properly. So similarly, who has created the issue wants such kind of example for the merge semantics too, and we will try to solve this. So first thing, like if you don't know what merge semantic is, you can simply go over here and see what the merge semantic is. Then only you can understand what it is, and you can provide a sample. Without knowing, you won't be able to write a sample, right? So just go over here and try to read it. I mean, so basically what merge semantic does is, everyone knows why semantics is used. uh, can I see in the chat? Everyone knows why merge semantic is used. Anyone knows? You can give in the comment section. So basically semantics helps people with accessibility and developers with accessibility, people who are challenged, what can we say, who have the visibility challenge. They are not able to use the phones properly, right? So basically there is a feature in every OS which is called a talkback. So whenever you click on something, it will talk back to you and it will say what you have clicked on. So that's how people who are visually challenged try to use an phone. So that's really important for developers to take care of such kind of accessibility in every application they develop, right? So basically semantics is used for that, to provide this kind of labels for the talkback feature. And what merge semantic does is, it tries to combine all the semantics that are available as its style. If you can read over here, is my screen visible? Okay.
Yes, it is.
So if you can read over here, it says a widget that merges semantics of its descendants. That's it. So how can we provide an sample, right? Now, first thing is I would like to say is, if you see over here, how can we provide the sample? What you can do is, you can select over here to view the source code. Now, once you have viewed the source code, you can check out how the source code is working and how the documentation is written over here. Now, if you check, where is it? There it is. Okay, so there is a tool called a snippet which they are using to give us this kind of look over here. So this is the tool which they are using, which is called as snippet, to provide this beautiful snippet that you are seeing here. And you can also copy this kind of copy the source code, and you can paste it in your application. So what we will do is, we will try to search how to write this. We will search how to write this snippet. There it is. Okay, here it is. Now I don't know how to use this snippet. So what my first step would be to go into the GitHub and try to find it how to write this. Now I know already how to write a snippet. So I will show where you can find the documentation for this. Once you go in the dev, select the dev, then you will find over here there is a tool called a snippet. And you can read the documentation over here. The Flutter API documentation contains code blocks that help provide context or a good starting point when learning to use any Flutter APIs. So this is the dark code generation, and this is the snippet tool which they are using. If you can see over here, it has also given you a, what we can say, an image. The code snippet tool generates the block containing a description in the example code, which is shown over here. So basically, we need to do the same thing for the merge semantics, and we will do the same thing. Now, we just need to declare the tool snippet, and we need to end the tool at the end. And before that, we need to write a headline which will describe what the sample code is doing. And then in the dart format, we need to write an example that we need to show. So now we will go to the merge semantics. Now if you're new to any project, you will surely not know how to, what we can say, how to navigate through project, because there are a lot of folders currently in any big open source projects, right? Okay, so there are a lot of directories over here. So if even if I go in the packages, there are a lot of directories. So how can I figure out where the source code of this widget is located? So just go click over here in the, so to view the source code, and it will give you give you direction. It says packages, Flutter, lib, source, widgets. So I will try to do the same thing. Let me open my wait. It says packages, then Flutter, then lib, and then source, and then widgets. And then I need to go in the basics.dart. Okay. So this way you can try to find how the source code, how you can try to look at the source code. So like I have done right now. So if you can see, find the source code for this widget, mod semantics, and this is the documentation that I can read over here for mod semantic. A widget, where it is. Okay, a widget that merges semantics of a descendant. If you can see, this is the same thing given over here. So I have looked at the source code. Now my second step is to have this kind of what we can say, this kind of tool in the documentation. So for that, you will need to first fork the repo and clone it. So I have already done those steps. So I will just try to open the Ender Studio. You can choose any idea you want. If you have any questions, you can definitely write in the comment section. We will definitely try to solve it afterwards. So first I need to check out the master branch because I was working on another issue. And I will also need to pull the master changes because it has been while. Okay, so that's done. Now I will create a new branch to work on. Now once I've done that, I just need to make the code changes. So I will try to navigate and find the basis.dart, or you can simply, if you are using what we can say, if you are using the Ender Studio, you can simply search it like this. You can press the Control Shift F to find the basics.dart, or you can even search merge semantics. So here it will give you all the instance of merge semantics, and I need to where I need to go. Interesting. This semantic test basic.dart. Okay, this is the file. So now I'm here and I need to find more semantics. Okay, this is the class that we need to. This is the file where we need to add the tool snippet. Right now, what we will do is we will try to read the documentation first because we need to understand what kind of sample we need to provide. So if you read over here, it says Is my screen visible? Is the code visible to you?
Yes, it is.
Is it? Yeah, okay, it is visible, right? Okay. If
Yes,
you
yes.
if it is not visible, let me know. I can uh, edit the font size, increase the font size. Okay. So basically, it says cause all the semantics of the subtree rooted at this node to be merged into one node. And they've also given an example over here. For example, if you have a widget with a text node next to a checkbox widget, this could be used to merge the label from a text node with the text semantic of the state checkbox into single node that had both the label and the text state. Now we can provide a similar sample because there is already an example given over here, so we can provide an sample for the same. So what I will do over here is, let's try to add the snippet over here. So if you don't know if you don't know how to add a snippet, you can simply go and read the documentation again. Where was it? You can simply go in the dev, then snippets, and then you can check the syntax over here. So basically, I need to do at the red tool snippet, and I need to close the end tool. Okay, so first I will do that thing. Let me verify. Okay, so far done great. So now what we'll try to do is we will try to give a heading. What does the code snippet tries to solve, or what does code snippet tries to show. Now I'm not a good technical writer, so if you are a good technical writer, you can help me out by writing in the comment section what should I write. Till so basically I will do. Okay, let's see. Uh, shows how to use merge semantics. Now I should do like this, or you can even use this because these are the what we can say. These are the basic markdown then you that you can use to show the code. Merge semantics to the semantics of a checkbox and a text widget. Now, basically, I've written the heading that I want the snippet to show. Now, what I can do is I can simply write dart, close it. Now, now by default your formatting won't work, so you need to add two spaces. Now, if you can see over here, it says it is what I can say. Have a widget text node next to the checkbox, so we can use a row, right? And then children, and then we need to add a checkbox first. Now a checkbox has a lot of values which are, and two of them are required, which is a value, and another one is on change. Now once we have done this, we need to add a text, and let's say it is an options or less settings. Okay, so that's it. You have made your first contribution by doing this kind of change in Flutter repository. Now, once you have done this, you can simply try to get at the changes and then commit it. And then now, if you don't know how to set an upstream, it will always say you if you write git push, just copy paste it. You don't need to know every command, right? And git. Now, why I have not written, why I have not read wrap the checkbox and text with semantics is because they by default have a semantics widget internally. That shall not wrap them with a semantics because they will already have a semantics for themselves. So once I've done this, I can just go over here and it will say me to open a pull request, and you can add over here anything you want. Now, if you are doing any code, you just need to add the description. Now you need to also give an issue. I don't know what is the issue number. Now, if you are doing any code contribution, you will need to add test, right? Without test, your code can be reverted anytime if the tree is red or any tests are failing. So please, if you're doing any code contribution, even if it's a one line change in code contribution, please try to add a test if it is changing any logic in the widget. So since I've only done the doc changes and don't need to add a test, so I will write NA uh, because lead docs are changed, and then you need to check all of the list. If you're signed the CLA, sign it. If you're not done it, if you want to sign a CLA, you can check the link over here. It is given over here. And then I have read the hygiene and everything. Okay, done, done, done. And my change is not a breaking change. So your change can also be a breaking change if your tests are failing. If any of the tests is failing in the framework, then it is called a breaking change, and then you can go over here to see how to handle a breaking change, and you need to write a design doc for the same. Here, it is given over here. So once you have done that, you are good to go. Just review it if it is fine, and you can create a pull request from here. I'm not creating this pull request. If anyone wants to contribute to Flutter, you can do it by selecting the same issue. I'm not doing a pull request. You can do it by yourself if you're seeing the video or if you're attending the session. So that's how you can contribute to the Flutter. So yeah, if you have any questions or something, you can definitely shoot now.
That's kind of Easter egg in the video, right? Contributing to Flutter. All right. So, Ayush, we do have one question by Harsh Mehta, and here it is. Is there any reason why some PRs have been open since a year? Like some of them would no longer be relevant Why would are they still open?
Is the
Like
reason why
why?
some PRs have been open since a year. So basically, if a PR is open still in a year, it means that the team has not noticed it is open. Otherwise, if it is open more than a month, the team says that the team itself closes the PR by saying that this PR has been not been active since more than a month. So we are closing it. If you are, I mean, I can also show you an example. They always say this kind of stuff, but it might be case that they have not noticed it. So if you find such kind of PRs, you can simply say to the team that this PR is open since more than a month or something like that. And if you want to contribute, you can take that issue then.
Mm-hmm. All right. So the next question is from me itself. Is there any basic repo for to get started in Flutter basics? Is there any book or something, or some resources or something you want to provide to people?
Okay, so if you want to cash out with Flutter, I would say there are one good course which is App Brewery, which is by Brewery,
Mm-hmm.
which is for free. You can definitely choose that. There are two I mean YouTube channels that I would suggest you. The first one is the MTech Viral by Pawan Kumar, and second is the Reso Coder. These two channels have a lot of good stuff. And if you are not familiar with the English and if you want to learn in Hindi, you can check out the MTech Viral channel. And if you want to learn how to structure your code, if you want to learn how to use state management solutions properly, you can also check out the Reso Coder, which is definitely I would suggest you to.
Mm-hmm. That's great. And the another question from me is that you have done so much of contributions to Flutter and all. So what are your next plans, and how do you see yourself in next 5 years?
This is definitely a tough question. Like I don't have any kind of plan like how I see myself after 5 years. But yeah, I will not stop continuing Flutter because it's been a great journey for me, and it has also helped me to learn new stuff. Whenever I try to, like, I also didn't know how to work with merge semantics and everything. I also checked it yesterday. How what are the merge semantics? How it works, and and it is really, and that's how you grow. If you
Yeah.
come across an easy fix issue, you don't know how to fix it. You just Google it. Like
Hmm.
what is the widget? Try to make an app. For example, I also didn't know how to work with semantics or anything. So what I did was I just created an application to test out how the things are working over here. So yeah, I did the same thing.
Hmm.
If you can see, I just ran the application, and I tried to open the talkback feature in my in my mobile, and I just click on the widget, and it worked properly fine how it says. So that's how I learned how the merge semantics work, and I was able to create a pull request for that.
Okay, so can I rephrase my question again? That how do you see the scope of Flutter, in the near future? Like, what is the scope? Like,
I mean,
people are, yeah.
it totally depends how the use cases are, but I would not say that Flutter is not a like a very good thing or a bad thing. Flutter is really good for mobile platforms as of now, because they support iOS and Android very well. And even if you want to go to the native, you can use platform channels. You can use platform channels to get the native features, which is little bit of tricky, and sometimes a lot of work that you need to do if plugins are not available. But surely there is nothing that Flutter stops you from. Like Flutter gives you every opportunity to access the native features and everything. For
Hmm.
web and desktop, I would say it is very early, and there are a lot of improvements that need to be done before we can use for the production level. But we have still seen people use web Flutter for web and Flutter for desktop. For example, if you see the Mster application, which is developed by Rudy Davis, it works on iOS, Android, web, and even on the Mac OS. So that's a great thing. And even for the Linux, I would say the Canonical team from Ubuntu has helped the Flutter team a lot I mean, they have helped a lot in the Flutter engine, as well as
Hmm.
they have created some great plugins from Linux too. And similarly, we have seen from the Microsoft team also, because they are also taking interest in how to grow in the Flutter ecosystem. So I would say it is a great feature ahead. and it is not something that will go in the Google graveyard. I'm sure for that.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so people, do we have any more questions? Like, do you have any questions? Write in the comment section if you do have any.
So yeah, if you want to get connected with me, you can follow me here. Can you share the
Yeah,
screen?
yeah, sure.
Yeah, you can find me on the GitHub. It's Ayush 1998. You can follow me on Medium. I have written an article for how you can get started with contributing to Flutter. You can check out that. You can ping me on Twitter if you have any doubts. I might be slow to respond, but I will
Yeah.
definitely get back to you in a week or so.
It's good. Great. So I guess there are no questions ahead, but yeah, I would like to thank you, Ayush, for this amazing session and doing issues on live stream. Like, that's a kind of god level. Salute. Yeah, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's
Yep,
been a
yep,
pleasure. Okay,
yep.
guys, folks, have a great Hackfest. If you want to contribute, you can definitely reach out to me on the Discord server. We will try to figure it out together.
Yep. All right. So thank you guys for joining in, and following up, we do have one more mini event at around 5 o'clock. No, I'm so sorry. It's 6 o'clock. Yeah, we do have a mini event on 6 o'clock. Do binge in, and yep, that's it. Tata. Bye bye.